Hey everybody, it's Dave Juno. Welcome to the Meniere's Experience. How y'all doing? I'm okay today. Yesterday, not so much. If you noticed, a couple of support groups. I last night I had reposted a video I made 4 years ago about stress, and yesterday was a very stressful day. Okay, um, and I'm going to talk about the stress and how it affected me, and what I really had to do to at least try to calm down. So we're going to start this off with one thing before anything goes over. When it comes to elderly people and women, I take that very seriously. Very, very seriously. And I will do anything I can to help an elderly person or woman or a disabled person to, if they're being abused, I will do everything in my power to stop it. So, this is how the day went yesterday. About 8:45, my neighbor across the street, who the guy has, he lives with his mother, and his son lives there too. And he's had drug and alcohol problems his whole life. He won't stop doing them. So he comes over at about 8:45 and says, "My son is beating my mother. Call 911." Okay. Elderly. The woman's 87 years old. I mean, she moves and everything pretty good for 87, but she's 87 years old. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'm not, if he's coming over here for that legit, I'm going to do something. So call 911, tell the police what's going on, all this stuff. And they said, okay, we're on our way. I said, I'm going to go over to see what's going on in the office. The police said, please do, but don't put yourself in danger. So I'm like, I'm not worried about myself at this point. So I go over, and his son is in the front hallway, and he's shaking and crying. And I'm going, oh my God, this kid's 21 years old. What is going on? So I knock at the door, and the kid's trying to shoo me away. I'm like, Nicholas, it's Dave. Open the door. I shouldn't have said his name. That's okay. I said, hey, open the door. It's Dave. So he looked out. He goes, all right. He opened the door. He's shaking. He's crying. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. And I'm trying to calm him down. Well, first I'm saying, did you hit your grandmother? He goes, no, I didn't touch her. And then the grandmother come out, and she goes, what's going on? I'm like, what is going on? Does he hit you or anything? He goes, no, I was sleeping. I just woke up from all the noise. I'm like, oh, okay. So right off the bat, I realized something else is wrong here. That everybody's fine, and this poor kid thinks he's going to jail. So the police show up, and his father's over on this side of the street. So the police show up. They ask me what's going on. I said, listen, that guy across the street said this kid was beating his mother. I come over. He's upset because he thinks he's going to jail. He didn't touch her. She has no markings on her, and she said she was sleeping. She didn't know what was going on. And the officer, and they're known to the police department. Okay, we have them over here. They're over there at least once a week. So the officer just goes like this, and you could tell he doesn't want to deal with it, but he has to. And then two other officers. So one officer goes to talk to the kid and the grandmother. The other officer goes to talk to the guy, to the son, to his, that kid's father. And one officer stays with me, and he's talking to me, and he's like, well, what happened? And I told him, and I feel like I'm being played. There's something deeper here. So the officer goes, oh, I agree with you. There's something deeper going on. So all these things come out, and come to find out from what the kid told the police, and he actually told me afterwards, the father got mad and wanted him out of the house because he wouldn't take him to buy alcohol. This all started because he needed alcohol and I had to get involved. So I'm furious at this point. So the officers and I talk to the kid, and we tell him, listen, take off for a couple hours, and then come back. Let everything calm down, because if you don't, we're going to be right back here. So he finally agreed to, and I waited, the cops waited till he left, and when he left, I left. Because I did not want to see this young man go to jail for nothing. He didn't do anything. You know, his old man's being an ass. So I don't want to see this kid, you know, I'm sticking up for it. But, you know, just over alcohol, you're doing this stuff. Now you got a neighbor involved. So everything they've ever told me in my whole life of living in this neighborhood, which has been 32 years, with them across the street, has been one big lie. And I kind of knew it anyways. I really didn't associate with them as much. But when somebody comes over and says an elderly person is being abused, and I don't do something, something really happens. So, you know, but while the officers were talking to him, he told them about 5 or 6 different stories. And one of the stories was, I didn't go over and tell him to call the police. Which is meaning he doesn't want another charge on him. Because he's already got charges on him from 2 weeks ago when he stole his mother's car to go get booze and cracked it up. And I just shook my head, and then I said to the officers, am I getting arrested for filing a false police report? And they went, no, he is, because he told you. And he said, we have his voice on dispatch. He was babbling behind you while you were talking to dispatch. I said, yeah. They said, no, you're not going, you're fine. And they said, you did everything the way most people should do it. And you did it actually better job than some police officers. You did everything you were supposed to do. You did nothing wrong. You were great. And I was, at that point, when I first found out it was just about son not going to get him alcohol. And then now I'm now trying to pin me for a charge. If the police weren't there, I don't know what would have happened. Thank God the police were there, because I wouldn't be standing behind this camera probably. So everything's over to calm down. I come over here. I'm literally talking to my wife, just so ripping. And then the guy, and I did ask the police, if he comes on my property again, can I just call and file a trespass charge? And they said, oh, please do. Please do, because the more we can get on him, the better we can clean the situation up. And I said, thank you. So not even after everybody left, about 20 minutes later, he's knocking at my door. Now the kid's gone. He's knocking at my door. You just fabricated a whole big story. Almost got me arrested, basically, for filing a false police report. Now you're back at my door? I opened the door and I screamed at him, get off my porch before I call the police. And I slammed the door in his face. And the look on his face was like, I didn't do anything. And I just was like, at that point, I saw nothing but red. I was shaking. Vertigo started. Yeah. For about a half hour. I couldn't even talk. It was so bad. But for a half hour, I didn't take anything to stop it. It just stopped on its own. Because the fluid built up. Even though I've had sac decompression surgery here, I could feel it building up. And it was building up so fast that it couldn't drain fast enough. So, yeah, I had vertigo for about a half hour. Tinnitus was rampant. And you know how you get muscle movements involuntary, but muscle movements? I could watch my arm and it was going like that. My thigh was doing the same thing. My lips were going like that. I mean, it looked like I had a stroke. I mean, it was ridiculous and shaking. And I could feel like I was getting hives down here in my esophagus, inside, because I get them on the inside. And I get them in my esophagus because I was starting to feel tightness up here. Not down here, but up here. So I took a Benadryl and sat on the couch and laid on the couch, and everything started calming down at that point. But, you know, so I woke up this morning and I was feeling okay. A little groggy, but I'm probably still recovering from yesterday's events. But I noticed something. The hearing in this ear is lower I got about 30% hearing in this ear. It's got to be at 15 now. Because if I take this hearing aid out, I don't hear anything on this side. Nothing. Nothing. I got an air conditioner right here. You can see a little bit of it right there. It's like the first year I've had air conditioning in this room. But I got the air conditioner here. I can't hear it. I can't hear it. All because I get stressed out because of my ding-dong neighbor. So, this is why I tell you, if you can stay away from the stress, do it. Do it. Do anything you have to do to get rid of the stress. To stay away from it. To protect yourself from it. Now, sure, normal everyday stress, that happens. But stuff like this, like I said, like I said at the beginning of the video, if it wasn't an elderly person that they were making the story up about, I would have just shut the door and said, get off my property right off the bat. But it was an elderly person. And I can't do that to an elderly person, regardless if it's fake or not. I have to see what's going on. Maybe I should have went over there to see what was going on before I called the police. But, that's hindsight's 20/20. You always figure these things out after. But it was nice to hear the cops tell me I did the right thing and all this stuff. But I paid the price. I paid the price. They didn't pay the price. I paid the price. With less hearing, having a day when I woke up and I felt great, to being sick all day. For what? For what? Just amazing. So I tell you, stay away from the stress. So now, if he comes over for anything, please get a call for trespass charge. I can't deal with it anymore. And the thing is, they all lie. So, just stay away from the stress if you can. I don't want to see anybody go through this like I did. Because I'm paying the price. And a lot of times my videos are upbeat, positive. And this one is at some point. But I'm a human being. And even nice people have their limits. And I reached mine with that guy across the street. Diagonally across the street. The guy across the street's awesome. The guy diagonally across, it's been a nightmare, thorn in my ass for 32 years. Finally, I pulled the thorn out yesterday. And on that note, I hope I have a better weekend. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, spin-free weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.